Welcome to this video. I am going to start working on my nephew's quilt. If you've been following the channel, this is a quilt that my nephew asked me for. I'm going to create it for his birthday. He's chosen the colors red, black, and white. And in my research for the quilt, I reminded myself that I have these blocks that are already in red, black, and gray. And so this is going to be my starting point for the quilt. I've had several suggestions about how to put this together. And then one suggestion I got is to turn the blocks on point because it can make the quilt bigger just by turning the blocks. So I'm going to be exploring that in this video. I currently have 9 blocks. These are blocks from my Starlight, Star Bright quilt. And I did a sew along on this, on these blocks, I think in 2022 for Vlogmas in July. I'll link it in the description box so that you can go check it out. These blocks all were inspired by the Block a Day book. I changed the sizes just a little bit. So if you want these particular block sizes, they're actually on my blog. So that will also be linked in the description so that you can follow along with all of these patterns or these blocks. I have several steps that I need to do because of the size that I want to make, which is about a twin. My nephew's probably around 6 feet tall, but he was saying that he wants a quilt. My understanding is like a sofa quilt. So I want to make it to be at least a twin. I'm not sure what these blocks are going to give me, but we're going to just explore that. I will start, since I am going to turn them on point, they're going to be turned like this. So instead of being straight in the quilt, they're going to all be kind of turned at a diagonal. And for these blocks, it's going to be pretty interesting. This block is called the Starflower. And like this, to me, it looks very flowery. But when I just turned it, this look is a little bit more interesting. So I'm excited about that. In order to determine how I need to set this and how many more blocks I need, the first thing I'm going to do is measure from this point to this point. I'm going to actually measure the diagonals because from that point I can determine what the width and the height are going to be. And then I can fill in for sashings and cornerstones because that's how I want to set it. I want to use setting triangles, corner triangles, and then sashing and cornerstones to really fill it out. So let's start by taking one of these blocks to my cutting mat so we can kind of get a measurement. I can't find my tape measure for some reason, so we're just going to try it this way and see what happens, see how it works. Here is one of the blocks that I've pulled from the design wall. They were created to be about 15.5 inches square. I have not measured them to make them all the same size, but I think that will be a part of the process. But for now, I just want to get a rough estimate to see how to create these blocks on point. So what I'm going to do right now is just turn this block this way, and I'm going to put the center line on the same line. So actually, I'm going to come over to the corner here. And I'm going to put this line on the 12. So let's see. Okay, so I'll show you that because it's kind of going through the center. So let's see. This line here is on the 12, and then I just decided to match it right here. Okay, now with this, this is my 1 marking. This is number 1. And so from here, I can see how big it is. And they are about... I'm going to lay a ruler next to the line so that you guys can see it. So the diagonal on this quilt it's about 22.25 inches. Okay, so that is my across measurement for each one of these blocks. I'm writing that down in my book here so that I can begin planning. Let's see. So let's see. So I'm just going to write it here. Diagonal equals 22 inches. Okay, now that's pretty cool. So I'm going to assume that also the vertical is 22. It's not exactly, if I'm looking here, if you look at these two, they don't exactly match. So I'm not going to freak out too much about that. But if I go with a 22-inch measurement, or approximately 22, that's a good number. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and plan out the quilt, and I will show you my plan when I come back. I brought the blocks upstairs so that I could lay them out and get a clear picture of what I think the quilt will look like. You can see I had to use some extra blocks to fill it out the way I wanted to. What I was looking for was 3 blocks across and then 4 blocks down, but I had to figure out the layout in order to get that. So what I have done is I've laid everything out like I would like, and it looks like I'm going to need 18 blocks total, and I have 9 blocks up here, and so that just means I need to make 9 more blocks, which I'm very excited about because I can, if I choose to, just redo the current blocks and change the background from a gray background to a white or cream. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think that's going to be the goal, and then I will lay everything out. Before I do that, I am going to draw out the design so that I can see it and kind of get a feel for it. And then I will start choosing fabrics and making some blocks. This is a tentative layout of the quilt that I came up with using the design that I had upstairs. So you can see the star blocks. They all have little stars in them, and they're turned on point. And then you can see where the setting triangles are, and the sashing and cornerstones, and the corner triangles. I also made myself a little list of what I'm going to need to finish out this block. My next step is going to be pulling the fabric for this quilt. Something interesting happened as I began to look for fabrics to go with these blocks. Some of these I already had set aside from when I made the quilt the first time. I left the extra fabrics in a box so that when I got ready to finish the quilt, there would already be some fabrics there. As I was looking through that box, I found some blocks in here, and these are the leftover blocks. Some of these blocks, when I made them, I ended up with extra pieces, and they were already together. I set them all aside. I didn't just cut them down or put them in my scraps or anything like that. I just left them over to the side. And I found that I had pieces for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks. Of course, they all need to be finished, but this gives me a pretty nice head start. So what I did was, as I was looking at these blocks, I matched them up with the blocks that they go with, and I labeled them. So they're going to be already set to go into a new block. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to change something about the block. Like my nephew wants, he said red, black, and white. So I'm going to push to get some more white backgrounds into this, into the quilt. And then I'm going to alternate the colors. So if the colors are, take for this star here, where the black is, I'm going to swap it out to red. Where the red is, I'm going to swap it out to black. So, and then for this one, I'll probably put a white background instead of the gray background. So it's not going to be as hard as I thought. To be honest, I've been kind of putting this off because I was concerned about the challenge, but I think it's going to be really nice to get everything rolling. What I'll do now is I'll show you the fabrics that I already have. I'll try to go quickly through them. The main thing that I wanted to pull was some whites. So these are the whites that I pulled. And these are just from my fabric stash here. So there are several whites, solid-ish and print-ish. And since I have not been starching, since I didn't starch these fabrics, I will not starch the fabrics for the rest of the blocks. I kind of would like to, but I'm not going to go back and forth, especially knowing these blocks haven't been starched, or the ones that were left over have not been starched. So these are my whites that I pulled. I did pull several reds. Some of them are already in the quilt, but then some of them are not. So these are a lot of fat quarters and a little bit of yardage. I did kind of go burgundy maybe for some of these, but I'm not sure what all we'll use, but it may give us a little bit of variety. Most of these are kind of bright red, but this may give us a little bit more variety. And then I have some black and gray here. There's a lot in the box, so even down here at the bottom there's more red, you know, gray, black, all of these different fabrics that I can pull from when I'm preparing the blocks. My only thing is, well, my only two things: add a little more white, and then for these blocks that I have to redo, change the coloring around a little bit. Okay, so I guess we'll just go with, I'm trying to think if I want to start with the blocks that we already had, or if I want to start with the blocks that I don't have. Since there are pieces for 6 blocks in here, there are only 3 that I need to remake. And I think that's the Friendship Star, which is here at the top left, the Freewheeling Star, and the Star Flower. Everything else I have at least partial blocks. It's time for me to get rolling on these blocks for this quilt. Since I already have a playlist with each block already on a tutorial, I will link that playlist in the description box so that if you want to go check out any of those videos, you can. I'm going to just go through and make each block, and then I'll show you what the original block looks like, and then the one that I'm adding to the quilt. There are 9 blocks total. So right now, so when I'm done, there will be 18 completed blocks. You'll also get to see the ones where I had duplicates, because I'm not going to change them. I'm just going to put them in the new block. Okay, so let's get it started. I have all 18 of the blocks made for my nephew's quilt. I laid them out. These are not in quilting order, but I just laid them out here on the floor so that I could get a look at some different choices for sashing. I really like, there are 2 that I really like. Of course, I love this gray, and I think it would really work. I also really like this burgundy here. And but I think that I'm going to go with the gray as my sashing fabric. It's kind of, I think it's a grunge with the dots, and I think it's going to be good. I even moved some of these grays over here to make sure that it wouldn't clash too much. My this red. This is that cherry fabric that I have that is so cute. But it will not work for my nephew's quilt. It's just way too bright. And you can see even here, it kind of clashes with those pinwheels. So I'm going to set this entire quilt on the gray as my sashing. And I am going to use some cornerstones. I think I'm going to go with red cornerstones, but I'm going to make those scrappy. So my sashing here is going to be gray, and then I'll have scrappy red cornerstones throughout. And then I'll have some decisions to make about the back. I mean, about the triangles. I might want to go with maybe this gray if I have enough, but I was really thinking about doing black cornerstones, but I want to lay everything out first and then I can make some more decisions. So I'm going to go downstairs, cut this gray, and my sashings are going to be 3-inch finished. So I'm going to cut them at 3.5 inches, and then I will, I'll bring it back up here and lay it out before I decide about the triangles. I have my fabric here. I've pressed it for my sashing. I did the math on it, and for a 3.5-inch sashing strip, I need exactly 84 inches of fabric. When I measured this, I got just about 84 inches of fabric. So we're going to see what I can do with it. I'm going to go ahead and cut the 3.5-inch strips. I will do that on camera so that you can see it. After I cut this down to 3.5 inches, I can get two sashing strips from each of these strips because my blocks are trimmed down. I trimmed them down to 15.25. So I'll get 3.5 inches by 15.25. If I'm not able to get the 24 strips, I will still have enough to kind of stitch a few pieces together if I absolutely need to. But who knows? I did kind of a rough measurement, and I might actually get the all 24. I don't know about that. I kind of think I should cut it down to 3.25, but I'm just going to see, and then I can just I can just piece together the other strips that don't make it. So we'll do this on camera. I will speed it up so that you can see the process. I am using my Shape Cut Plus ruler and my 60mm rotary cutter. So hopefully this will go kind of quick. 3.5-inch sashing, and then we'll cut them down to 15.25-inch strips. So let's see, 3.5. No way! So I have all 24 strips. Let me double check and see. So that's 4. So we have 5, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 15, 20, and 24. That is amazing. So now I'm just going to cut this down into our 48-inch strips. Again, I'm going to speed the video up. I have my 20.5-inch ruler. So I'm going to just line these up and get the 15.25-inch cuts. Let's see how we're going to do that. So I'm just going to pick a line and line these up. I'm so excited that I can get all of this off of the one. Okay. And actually there's a way, I think there's a way I can do it with the shape cut. So let's see. I need 15.25. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start here and I'm going to put the 0 line over on my near the selvage. So I'm going to take the selvage off. And then the shape cut plus, it has a 1/4-inch line here. So I'm going to put my 1/4-inch line on the edge. And then I'm going to count over 15. Let me see if I can do that. So let's see. Here's the 1/4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So if I cut it on the 15.5 line, that should give me my 15.25, since my 1/4-inch is here on the line. So I'm going to cut it on the 15.5. Okay. Like that. And so if you have a shape cut, I don't know if the shape cut plus, I don't know if you realize that it has a 1/4-inch line there. So I'm going to cut the rest of these. And then I even have some scrap. So I'm really excited about that. That's so cool. I'm going to finish cutting these and then I'll cut the 3.5-inch squares and I'll meet you back upstairs in a little bit. I had to go to the fabric store to get this black to finish out the layout. I really am loving the gray that I have for the sashing. And this might be my final layout. I'm still going to let it sit and marinate for a little bit before I make a final decision. But I do want to show you that this is what we're heading towards. I'm going to sew these together on a different video, but take a look. The fabric that I got for the setting triangles, it's called Thatched by Robin Pickens. It's a Moda fabric, and if you look really closely at it, you can see that it's kind of this interesting crosshatch. But I think it's going to be really nice. I'm a little bit concerned about the corner triangles, but I'll explain that later. For now, I think this is going to be perfect for my nephew. And let me know what you think in the comments. I do, like I said, need to move some things around, but I think this is a great start. If you have any questions about what you've seen in this video, leave them in the comments below. Thumbs up this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.